when it comes to legacy planning, something that you definitely prioritize at J. Hagan Capital, it's an important part of the planning process. People have avoidance issues, John.
I don't blame them. I mean, it's morbid, isn't it? Hey, let me tell you, kids, one day when I kick the bucket, I want you to make sure that you dig up half the backyard because all my money is in shoeboxes and Folgers cans in the backyard.
Like in the Shawshank Redemption.
Of course it is.
A tree and a little pale lunch, a little lunchbox.
Why not? I know. I mean, legacy planning. I mean, it can be a little bit morbid, but also, I think a lot of people get fixated on: am I going to have enough? Yeah. As it is, how do I know I'm going to have enough? What do I need to plan for the next generation for? I don't know if I'm going to have enough.
That's right.
So
well, that's why you are here to help us figure it out. This is John Hicks, founder of J. Hagan Capital, financial advisor. I'm Heather Branch, here to ask John these tough questions because a lot of us have them, and unfortunately, it's super challenging to find direct answers to these questions, John, which I think is another reason why a lot of people don't have stuff taken care of when it comes to financial plans. There's every time a fire hydrant of information available, and it's like, well, how do I sort it out? So
it's complicated because you don't even know if it applies to you, right? I was looking at something, I was Googling something using AI, all these, buzzwords. I was Googling and using the AI to ascertain the answer to something, blah, blah. Everything that I read sounded awesome. None of a single bit of it pertained to me because in the state of Kentucky, it didn't work or la, 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 la. And I was just like, well, see, I just went down a rabbit hole for 35 minutes. And got all this awesome information that is absolutely worthless for anything I want to accomplish. It happens all the time.
It happens all the time.
Every time before I go see my physician, I WebMD everything that I think I have.
Well, don't do that. Certain death.
You know what they say every time?
Yeah.
John, you need to get off WebMD. You don't have any of those things. You could stand to lose a pound or two, and you need to probably drink more water and less Coke Zero.
And
outside of that,
and get less stress in your life. Yeah.
You have at the moment, you have no diseases that you've come up with.
So please get off the WebMD.
I know.
Stay focused.
It happens.
How about every doctor talking to every financial advisor? You do what you do, and I'll do what I do.
Agreed.
We'll just stay in our lanes.
Agreed.
So there was this article on CNBC pointing out they took the unfortunate examples of some celebrities' circumstances, celebrities that have recently passed, to talk about what we can learn from the tough lessons that were.
Sure.
Singer Aaron Carter, he passed. He did not have a will. NBA legend Kobe Bryant died without an updated estate plan.
Sure.
Sopranos star James Gandolfini's estate was heavily taxed.
Oh, yeah.
And as I was saying, this CNBC article was pointing out the costly legal battles, hefty tax bills, family arguments, another big issue that comes out of proper legacy planning, that are created in this space when you don't take the responsibility upon yourself. So how do you help people prevent these and other legacy planning area mistakes?
I think one of the biggest things we have to understand is if we're very fortunate, we're able to retire one day, have plenty of money while we're alive, and then when we go, we just want that money to go to who we want it to go to, right?
Right.
I'm going to use one of those examples, James Gandolfini, who is kind of the star, Tony Soprano from The Sopranos, that was the character he played. He had really done a good job acting. He'd saved like $70 to $80 million. And here's the thing, because he didn't actually hire out, tax attorneys or CPAs to help with that. Yeah. His estate basically had to give half of it, close to half of it, to the government in the form of estate taxes and taxation, just because of how he had things. I unfortunately see stuff like that happen all the time. I really do. Really? Not usually at those levels, and of course most of it they're not celebrities, so people aren't paying attention to them, so they don't know to look it up. They don't know that what's happening. Right. But it's simple to understand. If we feel like we're going to have money by the time we are going to leave this world and our surviving spouse, we probably want to plan for where we want it to go. I mean, otherwise, and one of the things I used to say to people all the time is like, if you don't have a plan for your money, I promise you one thing. The government does. The government has a plan of what to do with your money if you don't have a plan for it. Promise you, whether it's the state government or a local government or a federal government, they all would love to take some of that from you. They'd be happy to lift it right out of your accounts over time. So we want to make sure we plan for that. But James Gandolfini, that's a tax element. That's not a big deal. Now, let's start with the easy stuff. If we start with the easy stuff, everyone past the age of 45 should consider having a will. I mean, you just should, right? Or if you have children. Like, I remember my first will, I was 32 because it was right when we had our baby. And I was like, oh my gosh, what would happen if something happened to me? You know, it's like you make the assumption, well, hopefully my wife would be. It was like, well, what if something happened to us? You know, what would that look like? So we had to start thinking, oh my gosh, who would watch for our little girl? And if we were lucky, we had no money when we were first married.
Yeah.
But if we had any money, you know, how would she get it? You know, how would we make certain it, you know, was available to her? And so that was when we started looking at the will process. And of course, my dad, growing up, was a small town attorney, and a judge. And you know, we never really even talked about that stuff at the house. So you know, it wasn't one of those things we talked about.
Okay.
But that was the first thing. So, but when you're 45, you know, or you have children, that's when you want to start thinking about it. And most of the time, for most of us, it doesn't change a bunch. It's not something you need to pull out and, you know, every year and stare at it, probably. Okay. Now, if you have major life events, health things, divorces, new additions to your family, either children or marriages, or unfortunately someone passes away, that's when you may want to just look at your language, because bringing up the second example, Kobe Bryant, that's kind of what happened to him. Yeah. So he was married, but when he passed away, he had a newborn or a younger child who was not physically named in the will. And the way that California law works, just because that was his legitimate child with his wife, it did not mean that child was a guaranteed beneficiary for his will. So because of that, his wife actually had to petition the state of California to get her added as a beneficiary to his estate over time. So it's weird. And of course, you know, every state has slightly different laws. California is a little different. I mean, if you're in Louisiana, that's Napoleonic law. It's a little different common law. And so things are very different. Who can own things, what automatically happens. So, you know, even in the state of Kentucky, there are some pretty interesting things on the books as far as what a surviving spouse can keep when it comes down to Medicaid and things like that. So it's important to be aware. Oh, absolutely. It's important to be aware. If you have children, you probably need a will. If you're over 45, you probably need to consider having a will. Even if you don't have a lot of stuff, it doesn't matter. It's not very expensive, by the way. There's all kinds of online sites you can go to. Yeah. I would just be certain that whatever you go to, that they're licensed to practice law in the state you live in. Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee, because again, the laws are a little different. Okay. But because even Kobe Bryant, you know, who had all kinds of lawyers, all kinds of agents, all kinds of people that were educating him, he didn't update it, right? And Aaron Carter, I thought it was interesting. You and I had a little. The word does not laugh, you know, may he rest in peace. But it was like, do people even know who he is? Yeah, well, his brother was a Backstreet Boy.
He had his own pop
singing
career.
He had his own. We were trying to go through some of the song titles, and the ones that I think that I remember, I don't know that he actually sang those. But in his situation, he was not yet married. And he had an 11-month-old, and the way that his situation worked out is that they had to completely contest everything. No one was able to find out who should control that child's money, because he wasn't married. So the legal mother wasn't allowed to make those decisions because they weren't married, and his child was a baby,
11 months old, right?
11 months old. So because of that, the money had to go to a family member, who then gets to declare a fee to manage the money for time. Ooh, it became very tricky and very sticky.
Very sticky, yeah.
And it happens a lot, right? So again, he obviously was a young man. No one would have thought that anything would have happened to him at that point in time. But again, when you have kids, is something you want to consider, because I did understand, and I couldn't find all of the dirt on it, if you will. Yeah. But there was all kinds of things where family members were charging his, estate for all these things, and they may have actually utilized a lot of the money so that it doesn't even get to go to the baby, who of course not only lost her father, but then also lost out on everything that she would have rightfully deserved had it been done right. So these are things that unfortunately they happen, and they happen a lot more than you think. It's just, these are celebrities,
right?
If you will.
This is public stories,
so it becomes
tabloid stories,
public information. But I mean, the main thing is that this is part of one of the processes that we do. This is our fourth pillar of the 5 things that we do for every client: wealth transfer strategy. We just want to know, hey, if we're lucky enough to have money when we're gone, we want to make sure it goes not to the government, hopefully. It goes to the right people that we want, and that they're educated on what that's going to look like. Because a lot of them may have to pay taxes on receiving that money, right? And they may be unaware of that. There was a situation I remember, it was a few years ago, where a guy had gotten an inheritance, and he spent most of the money that was in that account not even aware that he was going to have to pay taxes on that. It ended up being a $130,000 tax bill. Well, he blew more money. He didn't have that money left over to pay the tax man. He had to actually get on a payment plan with the government to pay them back for the money that he blew. He didn't know that. So this is why not only do we want to be educated on the situation, we want to educate, our heirs on those things too. So it's an easy fix, guys. And frankly, if you're an investment advisor does not do that for you, you want to get a second opinion. I mean, this is what we do for our clients. We're not writing trust for them every single day, but we absolutely are talking about, should you have a trust? Should it be revocable? Should it be irrevocable? Do you have medical powers of attorney? Do you have healthcare directives? Do you have those things? Because most of us, especially if we've done a good job saving, like most of the people that listen to this show, you do want to make sure you have those things in place. You want to have control over where your money goes. You don't want it going to someone that you weren't anticipating, or even worse, some government entity.
I wrote down, based on one of the previous comments you made, John, you are a better steward of your money than Uncle Sam is.
Without question.
Was, ever will be.
Question. I mean, even if you don't buy into the whole Doge thing, I mean, the money that our government spends, I don't want them making any decisions with my finances any more than they already do, right? With the money that I have to give them.
Not just the government. Do you want anybody making decisions with your money, about your money, for your money, but you?
No, not really.
You want to decide, and there are two certainties in life: death and taxes.
Absolutely.
So, and the thing that I've taught to friends and family about, the idea of a will. It's like, oh, I don't want to do it. It's like, just do it. Just get it done. And then it's done, and then forget, and then don't worry about it. And it's done. And then if you have an advisor, and they'll bring it up to you if they need to, as far as revisions go, just take care of it.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to worry about it.
And roughly, once you already have a will or an estate plan, about every 3 years, you just want to dust it off. Just make sure it's still accurate, right?
That's right. Well, when it comes to wading your way through these waters, understanding legacy planning, wealth transfer, all of the complicated conversations that are involved, John and his team here to simplify and help you understand. And like I said, be the steward of your money, because you are the best person to do the job. So let John and his team help you figure it all out. RetirementSolutionShow.com is our website and where to go to start the conversation with John and his team at J. Hagan Capital. We also have links posted in the show notes, so you can just click there, or again, it's RetirementSolutionShow.com.